Hello and welcome to another exciting installment of the Peninsula College Electric Lunch. My name's Eric Watercutty, and today I'd like to share a new tool with you called Twitter. For those of you who've never seen or heard of Twitter, in a nutshell, Twitter is a website where you can basically send out alerts and announcements in sort of a blog format, and have people subscribe to those announcements and alerts. So I've decided to break this up into three major parts today, and this is the sort of part one. We're going to look at kind of Twitter on a micro level, or how it might work for personal use, or smaller levels of use, and then we'll look at it on a macro level and how it might be used to communicate to larger sets of people, and then how you might basically integrate it into the work that you do. And then we'll look at a video that kind of explains in a nutshell how Twitter works and all the basics in terms of setting up your own Twitter account. And then in part three, I'll go through a demo and show you exactly how Twitter looks and works. Okay, so on a micro level, Twitter can be used and is very commonly used by people who simply want to update their friends and family, or anyone interested in following their lives essentially, on kind of the very lower level type of alert or announcement. So for example, if you just want to say, hey, I'm on my way to the next electric lunch, that might be an alert or an announcement you might post using something like Twitter. One of the terms that's being thrown around there to describe tools like Twitter is they describe them as micro-blogging tools. Okay, so to differ from blogging in general, which we looked at in our very first electric lunch, micro-blogging would essentially be the same kind of idea as blogging, but boiled down to very short posts, like 140 characters maximum. Whereas in a regular blog post, you could go on for paragraphs and paragraphs, if not pages. Micro-blogging means sort of like more of just these announcements or alerts or small updates. So on the micro level, Twitter can be used to keep updating your friends and family as your life unfolds and as you choose to announce those things to people. On a macro level, it could be used to send out announcements to huge groups of people. For example, I am a fan of Drum Corps International, which I won't get too much into other than to tell you that it's sort of like a large sporting event that occurs every summer. There are shows that occur all over the United States and Canada, and the season culminates at the World Championships, typically in the first week of August. Well, in the older days, it was a lot harder to get news about who was winning and what the scores were and all of that. There's a huge fan base out there, so we're talking thousands, if not millions, of fans who are interested in following Drum Corps, particularly on World Championship night. This year, it was very interesting to see that at the World Championships, some of the fans who were there live watching the show actually used Twitter to publish the scores, so that people who were unable to attend could actually see the scores basically real time. So as the announcer was reading the scores that night, people in the audience were twittering using their cell phone to publish the scores to the rest of the world who may have picked up on following those scores via Twitter. So on a macro level, you can use Twitter for free to basically set up an alert system for anyone and everyone you'd like to be able to subscribe to your alerts. So let's go through and look at how you might use it. So in academia, or at our institution of Peninsula College, I kind of focused on three examples here. So I put together a little thing like, an individual instructor who wants to be able to provide a mechanism whereby students can subscribe and receive alerts from the instructor. For example, the test is canceled today, or we're going to have a pop quiz, or snow day, no class, something like that. Very easily an instructor could set up a Twitter account for that purpose and share that information with the students, so that students can opt in or opt out of receiving those alerts, and they can receive them, as we'll look at later, by tracking it on the web or by subscribing via their cell phone, so that they get text or SMS based alerts. Now, student services might use it to send out announcements and reminders regarding important dates, registration, advising updates, things like that. And athletics could use a system like this to remind people of an upcoming game or post scores, things like that. So those are just some examples for you to think about. I've kind of reshuffled my slide deck, so even though this is sort of in conclusion of part one, the main point here before we go and look at this little video that's going to walk us through kind of how Twitter works is that for people who aren't really savvy with using text messaging, Twitter provides a way where you can use a website to send out text-based alerts to anyone who wants to subscribe. Now, the people who want to receive those alerts, they have the choice of subscribing to those alerts. So it's an opt-in or opt-out model. You aren't forcing these messages on people. You're simply providing a mechanism by where they can subscribe to your alerts. So I put my little Twitter account out there if you'd like to just take a look and follow me. Just as a way to kind of get your head around it and see what it looks like. So you can use that URL there to follow me and receive my alerts. So now we're going to look at a little video, and then when the video is done, we'll come back and I'll take you through sort of a hands-on demo. Okay, thank you.